Absolutely. Here's the complete English version of the story titled. In tears, the billionaire CEO signs the divorce papers, throws away the pregnancy test, and walks out. It was raining the day Jacob Sterling signed the divorce papers. The thunder echoed through the stone walls of the Sterling estate, as if the storm outside mirrored the storm within his heart. Worth over $1 billion, Jacob had built his empire from nothing. But today, he had failed to save the one thing he valued most, his marriage. He sat alone in his home library, staring at the final page of the documents. The pen in front of him lay silent, like a witness to the end of a love story. In the bathroom down the hall, resting silently by the sink, was a small pink stick, a positive pregnancy test. Jacob hadn't thrown it away. Or maybe he couldn't. Maybe that's why he hadn't signed yet. Maybe that's why he kept staring at the paper, one trembling hand hovering over the signature line. Layla, his wife, had left it there the night before. Whether accidentally or intentionally, he didn't know. But every time he looked at it, something inside him shattered a little more. Once, he was hers completely. He picked up the pen, breathed out a cold, heavy sigh, and signed. Tears streamed from his eyes. Quiet. Without sound. He stood up, looked at the pregnancy test one last time, then silently dropped it into the trash can, stepped out into the pouring rain, and drove away. 3 months passed. The world moved on. Jacob did, too. Or maybe he pretended to. He was back in business meetings, conferences, and news headlines. But the light in his eyes was gone. His smile was missing. His soul felt hollow. One afternoon, while on his way to a keynote event in Chicago, his driver took a shortcut through an old neighborhood. It was the kind of street Jacob hadn't seen in years, his kind of past. Cracked sidewalks, rusty fences, corner stores that looked like they belonged in another time. Jacob stared out the window, then suddenly said, "Stop the car." "Sir?" the driver asked. "Stop the car. Now." The driver pulled over. Jacob stepped out and walked toward what had caught his eye, a small boy, maybe 5 years old, barefoot, sitting on the steps of a broken-down building, holding a dirty teddy bear. "Hey, buddy," Jacob said gently. "Are you here alone?" The boy nodded. "Mommy's sick. She said to sit outside so she can rest." "What's your name?" "Eli." "And how old are you, Eli?" "I'm 6 next week. Can I talk to your mommy?" Eli took his hand silently and led him upstairs to their tiny apartment. What Jacob saw inside broke him. One bare room. Cracked walls. An empty fridge. And a pale, frail woman lying on a tattered mattress. He knelt beside her. "Ma'am? Can you hear me?" A weak voice replied, "Who are you?" "I'm here to help." By nightfall, the woman, Maya, was in a hospital bed. Jacob had paid for everything. The ambulance, the medical tests, the medication, the food. He even arranged a therapist for Eli. At first, he thought he was just doing the right thing. But then, he began to care. A nurse once asked, "Are you family?" "No," Jacob said, then paused. "But maybe I'm supposed to be." Maya recovered. She was working 2 jobs before her illness. No family. No support. Just Eli. "You saved my life," she whispered to Jacob one evening. "I don't know why, but thank you." "Maybe I needed someone to remind me who I was," Jacob said. She reached out and touched his hand. "Maybe you're finding that person again." One quiet evening, Jacob returned to his mansion and found a small envelope at his front door. It was from Layla. He opened it. Inside was a photo, an ultrasound image. And a note. "You never asked, but I kept him. His name is Henry. He was born 2 weeks ago. He has your eyes. I don't want anything from you. I just thought you should know. Jacob sat down slowly, the earth suddenly slipping from beneath his feet. Henry. His son. He picked up the phone to call her, but stopped. This wasn't a phone call moment. This was a face-to-face moment. 2 days later, Jacob stood at Layla's front door. No fancy car. No tailored suit. Just himself. She opened the door, surprised. Speechless. He walked in quietly. In the nursery, baby Henry lay in a crib, cooing gently. Jacob walked over, reached out, and touched his tiny hand. Henry, he whispered. The baby grabbed his finger, and smiled. Tears fell down Jacob's face. I'm sorry, he said to Layla. For everything I didn't see. For what I didn't ask. I want to make this right. Layla was silent for a moment. Why now? Jacob looked at her, eyes full of truth. Because someone showed me that real wealth is what we give, not what we keep. She smiled softly. Then maybe we can start again. A few months later, on a sunny green lawn, Eli chased Bubbles, laughing. Jacob pushed baby Henry in a stroller. Layla and Maya sat together, sipping tea, smiling warmly. It wasn't the life Jacob once dreamed of. It was better. Because when he opened his heart to a stranger, he found the pieces of himself he'd lost. Because love, real love, gives you the courage to live again.